everyone, and welcome back to Casual Climbers, the podcast by and for beginning hikers and those who may not quite be physically ready to tackle the Appalachian Trail. I'm your host, Donna Patrick, and alongside me is my husband and adventure buddy, Roy.
Hey, Donna.
Hi, Roy.
So in this podcast, we provide you with information, tips, and tricks on how to get into hiking here in the Blue Ridge area. We will cover some of the hundreds of trails in the various parks and forests in the region, and hopefully entertain you along the way. We're two middle-aged, perhaps not exactly in the best shape hikers.
100% not in the best shape.
But we do love the outdoors, right? And we want to share our experiences with you. So in today's episode, we talk about the Graybeard, Bryan, and Sanctuary Loop Trail in Montreat, North Carolina. And we have a really good fun fact by Donna about one of the earliest settlers of the town. And we do a review of a wonderful German restaurant nearby to sate your hunger after the hike.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say, Donna? Let's get started.
Let's go.
So here's the Graybeard, Bryan, and Sanctuary Trail Loop by the numbers. It's not a very long hike. It's only 1.69 miles in a loop with one spur going to Woodward Falls.
Mm-hmm.
The time it took us was 1 hour and 31 minutes, but only 53 minutes of that was total moving time. The lowest point is 2925 feet. The highest point is 3350 feet. So there's only a 425 feet elevation change, and I think much of it is on the spur going to Woodward Falls.
Yeah, when you're going to Woodward Falls, that word only and only this difference in height, I don't think I would put only in there.
Yeah, it's pretty much about 300 feet in a quarter mile.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty steep incline.
So if you don't do that spur, it's a much easier hike all the way around.
We've been done in probably 40 minutes max.
But I enjoyed that little waterfall.
Yeah, it was nice. And we're going to talk about the little waterfall here in a minute.
Yeah.
The friendliness of the trail, it's rocky and rooty in a lot of places. It's wet. Sure-footedness is definitely required.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, get there. How do you get there? So to get there, search for the Graybeard Trail parking area in Montreat, North Carolina in whatever map app that you use. It's important to note that there are no bathrooms at the trailhead. So if you have to go, stop in either Black Mountain, North Carolina, where you get off the highway, or if you can find a spot. I think there's a couple parks and gift shops right there in Montreat. So just keep that in mind. There's no bathrooms.
Thankfully, we didn't need one.
No. I mean, it's a fairly short hike, so
yeah,
we didn't really need one. And the big thing is there are only 8 spaces of parking in the parking area at the trailhead. There is an overflow parking that is quite a distance away. So keep that in mind, and it fills up very quickly.
Right. We went on a Wednesday because it was Juneteenth. So we were off work, and I think because of that, maybe it was a little less busy, but it was still crazy
full. We
full.
only had one parking spot there, even on a Wednesday.
Yes.
In the morning.
I mean, other people might have been off because it was Juneteenth, but
probably.
Yeah.
So one of the neat things about this before we get to the actual trail is you're going to be driving through Montreat, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time you and I had been there. It is the most adorable little town.
It really is. I could have stood for the roads to be wider.
It's very narrow.
Yeah, there's places where it's 2 lanes of traffic and you're like, are we going to both?
Is it really 2 lanes? Yeah. It's Donna's going to cover what the history of Montreat coming up, but it's very small. There's less than 1,000 people living in the town now.
Yeah.
In 2024. Yeah, it's really small. So onto the trail. The first thing that you get to is you get the trailhead board. That basically gives you an overview of the trail, and then you go on a boardwalk over the stream.
Which is lovely.
It's lovely. The whole trail on itself, I think, is pretty lovely, but honestly, pretty unremarkable.
I was glad we went and did this just for the fact that we drove through Montreat and
Black Mountain.
Black
Mountain is a great little downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
I picture those 2 places being kind of like the very, very, very early, what was that? Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge?
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling.
I hope it never becomes Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge.
Right.
For you listeners who've never been to Gatlinburg, Tennessee and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, they're right next to each other. It has exploded with tourism.
Yeah.
To the point where
it's not fun anymore.
I hate going there.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's way commercialized.
Yeah.
And so these places, Montreat and Black, what is it?
Black Mountain.
Black Mountain.
Yeah.
I don't know why I struggle with that. I didn't see a Black Mountain, maybe.
No, but there is the Black Mountain there. That's the one that is supposedly housing UFOs. Remember when we were driving? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we didn't see any aliens or anything.
Did not see any aliens.
Were you looking?
I'm always looking for aliens.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Just checking.
So back to the trail.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. A stream runs along part of it. I mean, like I said, it's less than 2 miles total. And you'll get the stream for about half, I'd say. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Not a very big stream. Very, very small.
It's nice though, hearing the water,
running over, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a waterfall. It is a small waterfall.
Right. I mean,
it's what, 7 feet maybe?
So we've been doing this since Christmas Day. So we've been doing this for
22 episodes.
Okay, so this is episode 22. So when we started doing this, we had much lower standards for what a waterfall is. And I feel like just because we've seen so many amazing waterfalls, maybe our definition or standards are starting to change just a little bit.
They might be. I probably, yes, probably.
I still get excited about any amount of water falling over any amount of distance.
I agree.
But I also know that there's things like Triple Falls and Station Cove Falls and
Triple Falls, High Falls, and Hooker Falls.
Yes.
Is still in my head.
Yeah.
It's still in my head. So if you guys haven't listened to that episode, it was a couple episodes
I think it was
ago.
episode 20.
Yeah. Was far and away my favorite.
Oh my goodness. It's hard not to just go back and just to do a podcast about that every single time. We went to
and today we're going to talk about Triple Falls again. I'm sure we're going to lose listeners. They'd be like, "Oh, these people shut up about Triple Falls." Hey, you don't.
Yeah.
Once you go there, you'll see why we talk so highly about it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, any waterfall is nice.
Right.
Any waterfall.
But
nice.
I now understand the whole idea of water just running over rocks and dropping 2 feet is not as spectacular as it used to be for me, coming from Florida, coming from, you know.
It's one of those things too, where it's effort reward, right? That's the calculation that I always do. And even though from the loop, the spur to go up to Woodward Falls was only a 1/4 mile there and a 1/4 mile back, it was a pretty steep climb, some challenging footing in several places. And so to do that, to get there for a 7-foot waterfall that was very narrow. I mean, you'll see the pictures on the trail photos.
Yeah.
On our website, casualclimbers.podbean.com. If you look for episode 22, you'll see the photos there.
I did get in the water. I did because I had worked up a sweat getting up there.
We were both sweating getting up there.
Yes.
And it was we got there about 9:30. So it was probably 10:15 when we got to that waterfall.
And that was not a hot day.
No. It was a serious.
It was some work to get up there.
To get up there. To get up there. And there was no pool that you could put your feet in. You were basically putting your feet in little small areas where rocks weren't.
I disagree. I think that there was a pool-ish. I mean, not...
What are we talking? 8 inches wide, maybe?
We're not talking about Hooker Falls. We cannot compare it to Hooker Falls.
That's true. So I guess all of that is to say, in my opinion, the waterfall was not worth the effort to get to the waterfall.
Don't do this hike. Don't do this spur to see that waterfall. If you do this, do it for the exercise.
Yeah, it's not worth it to see the waterfall. And as a matter of fact, if you and I do this again, which I don't think we will, I would
go to Montreat again in a heartbeat just to have...
Just a little town.
Yes.
Yeah.
To go to the park, to go have lunch in Black Mountain.
The architecture's fantastic. There's tons of stone buildings. There's a massive convention center.
Yes.
It looks like it's 100 years old.
And I'm glad that we did this hike one time to see for ourselves.
Yeah, and to tell our listeners, hey, if you're looking for hikes and you see this on one of the hike apps or somebody's like, hey, you should go to Montreat, there's a great hike there. It's not a great hike. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's just unremarkable compared to many of the others.
Yeah, but they can't all be 100.
No, but that's true. But when you consider Craggy Gardens with the vista and waterfall that has, and it's only maybe 20 minutes away from this area on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
That's true.
Like if you're in that area, we can give you way more better hikes.
Yeah, and
for the
hey,
reward.
listener, if you want us to specifically, if you want to say, hey, I'm going to be up there, blah, 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 can you give me some recommendations? We can definitely just email us.
Absolutely. Email us at casualclimberpodcast@gmail.com. And if you go to our website, casualclimbers.podbean.com, there's a link to our email address. Even if you want to ask us to review one, like if you're going to be coming up and say, hey, I'll be coming up in September and I'm thinking about doing this hike.
We'll do it first.
We'll do it. We'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And let you know how it is. We'll be like, yes, absolutely go. Or, nah, don't waste your time. So there was kind of one neat thing in this hike that we had not seen before.
Mhm.
And it was the Earth object tree.
Mm-hmm.
So at 0.82 miles in, there is this tree that people hang
Ornaments? Ornament-esque?
natural objects. The sign says, and there's a picture on our trail photos, Earth objects only, biodegradable. So they don't want you to hang plastic. They don't want you to hang metal. We saw a lot of shells.
Mm-hmm. A lot of shells.
Pine cones.
People had taken a piece of string and strung it through a shell. And that kind of thing.
Some wood ornaments, stuff like that. We saw that. That was kind of neat in the middle of nowhere to see that. Oh, also, Donna, benches.
Yes.
There are benches throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Our cat's got the zoomies. There's benches throughout on this trail, which is kind of nice. It's not a particularly challenging one unless you do the spur. And even on the spur, there's 2 benches in a quarter mile.
Yeah. There was some rusted out broken pipe.
Yeah. You can't help but think that that's not leaching into the ground there.
Yeah.
There's some pretty big rusted pipes through there.
Yes. I don't know what that used to be for.
If I had to guess, that was bringing water to Montreat. Because it was coming from up there where the waterfall was.
Right.
Yeah. And there was one more fairly remarkable thing. Toward the end of the loop, there is this big pond. Now, I would say that the pond is crystal clear. It's not.
It's not.
It's kind of brown.
Well,
there's pretty because there's a couple benches that you can sit there and look out. If you wanted to have a snack or whatever, you could sit there.
There's a lot of sediment in the water. I'm thinking that's broken down leaves from the fall, maybe.
Would
yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
But you're not mentioning every time you say there was something different, something unique, I keep thinking about that. I think it was a fungus that we saw on leaves that we had never seen before. It was so weird looking.
They call it azalea gall.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was on the rhododendrons. That was unusual. It
looked like some kind of alien
bubble,
marshmallow puffball kind of thing
on the bottom of the rhododendron leaves.
Yeah, and it was like eating through the leaf or something.
It's really weird looking. You can Google azalea gall, Gall on Google or Bing or whatever search engine you use, and you'll see pictures of it. It is weird.
So
it looks like the leaf kind of blew a bubble out the bottom of it,
but a white bubble off of a green leaf.
Yeah,
it's just very strange look. It's very alien looking. I saw that and I was like, "What is that?"
We had to actually look it up while we were on the trail, and thankfully we had 1 bar of service up there.
Yeah,
on the trail, so it was enough to do basic search.
Which again, a reminder. Once you get an app and download your trail, download the trail itself onto what you're doing.
Komoot or All Trails, you want to save it offline.
Mm-hmm. Right. That way, even if you get lost and you have no signal, you still kind of know where you are.
Yeah, so this one was kind of funny. So I use Komoot, and I have the voice directions turned on.
Yes.
Just by default. It's not that I use them a lot. So it's a funny little thing that happens. If you deviate from the route that's downloaded in any way, my app will start yelling at me.
Mm-hmm.
You have missed the turning.
Yeah.
Please look at the map. You have missed the turning.
Sometimes it'll tell us to make a U-turn, which is really funny because we're walking. But so when we
turn around. I don't
when we took the spur to go see the waterfall, you had not told the app that we were going to be doing that.
Yeah, because I didn't know it was there. So there was a sign on the tree as you go around.
Yeah.
It says Woodward Falls, 1/4 miles this way.
Yeah,
and
1/4 mile sounds way less.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was only 1/4 mile.
It was 1/4 mile
uphill, straight up.
Yeah.
So we took that spur, and my phone kept in my pocket, kept barking at me.
Yeah.
The trail is 250 feet behind you.
Yeah.
The trail is 500 feet behind you.
To the point where you finally stopped and actually found out how many feet is in 1/4 mile.
I was tired of listening to it. I was going to turn the voice navigation off, but I was like, no, I want to see how much it's going to bother me.
You did have the volume down.
I
turned
the volume down.
Yes.
So, yeah, I was tired of hearing her.
Yeah.
Bark at me.
Shit.
But then, on the way back, she's like, the trail is 1,000 feet ahead.
Right.
The trail is 750. So a little bit of encourament there.
Yeah, at least you kind of know.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
So
your app was telling you were doing it wrong.
Yeah. And it's a female voice, so it's just one more woman in my life telling me I'm doing things wrong. Okay, so overall, Donna, how would you rate this trail? Was it a piece of cake? Was it a break of sweat? Was it a feel to burn? Was it a pain bringer?
If you don't do that spur to the waterfall, which don't do that spur to the waterfall unless you
want the workout.
Unless you want the workout and you really just haven't seen an extraordinary waterfall in a very long time and you don't want to go anywhere else. There's so many ifs there. I think I would classify it as a piece of cake.
If you don't do the spur,
if you don't do the spur,
yeah. If the only caveat to that is you have to be sure-footed. You're not getting a wheelchair or hover around through there. We used poles
for the spur.
Only on the spur, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was using a pole. Sometimes I use a pole to hold me up on the way back after doing something like that spur.
I use the pole on the way down just because.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Falling and tumbling on hard rocks is not fun. Mm-hmm. So I use a pole just for security on the way down. But other than that, if we had not taken that spur, it would have been a breezy walk that would have taken us probably 30 minutes.
I did this hike in my water shoes, my hiking water shoes that we reviewed last week. And was it last week? I think it was
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay. Yeah. And that was not a problem to do the hike in my water shoes. I was really impressed.
Yeah. So I guess ultimately, if you're visiting Montreat and you have an hour to burn and you want to, stretch your legs, this is a good hike for you.
Yeah.
Don't go out of your way for it. It's just, in my opinion.
If you're staying in Montreat or Black Mountain.
If you have time to burn and nothing better to do.
There you go.
It's a good hike. But there are way better hikes out there. Better pay.
This is not a state-run thing.
No, it's private property.
Right.
Yep.
It's run by the church.
Presbyterian Church of the USA. Yeah. PCUSA.
Okay. And I think they're doing a good job. It seemed well marked. It was
well marked and maintained as well as you could maintain it without a professional staff.
Yeah, I don't think we climbed over any trees that would have fallen or.
No. There was this one crossing that and there's a picture of it on our trail photos where you have to walk over.
Oh yeah, those
down. It's clear somebody put these branches, a bunch of branches, probably 10 or 15, over some muck.
Right.
So that your footing would be better.
Like the biggest of these branches was probably as big around as my arm.
Yeah, not very big. So, but you can just walk across it pretty smoothly. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would also classify it as a piece of cake if you don't do the spur. If you do the spur, it's a break of sweat. We both sweat.
Yep.
Pretty bad on the way up and down. But again, I wouldn't recommend it if you're looking for a hike with great visuals. But, we did it.
Yeah.
So now you guys know, and you can choose to do it whichever way you want. If you're up for it, or if you're not up for it, at least now you have the information.
Mm-hmm.
So, Donna, are you ready to tell us a little bit about Montreat and its history and this amazing woman that I helped research with you?
Yeah, thank you for helping. Yes, I am. Our hike took us through the cute little town of Montreat, North Carolina.
It is adorable.
Yeah, and it has a pretty fascinating history. Montreat is a town in Buncombe County and is a portmanteau of the original name Mountain Retreat. The population was 723 people at the 2010 census.
Tiny.
Mm-hmm. But it's up to 901 as of 2020.
Uh-oh. Population explosion.
It kind of is. I mean think about percentage.
180 is pretty big.
That's a big percent of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what, 12%? Yeah, that's pretty big.
So people are finding out. I'm sorry, Montreat, that people are finding out about you. And I'm not sorry that we found out about you because you're adorable.
We will not be moving there to keep the population down, but it is adorable. We will visit again.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. The town is best known for Montreat Conference Center and Montreat College, and for having been the home of the evangelist Billy Graham.
Billy Graham.
Yeah.
Controversial figure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Some people love him, some people not so much.
I'll keep my opinions out of it.
The town is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides in the valley of Flat Creek, and the only road into it is North Carolina Highway 9.
Calling it a highway?
Yeah.
Very generous.
Yeah.
It's very, very generous.
Yeah, because that's the road that gets
So tiny.
It is,
Yeah.
and so it's narrow too at some points. So that's an overview of the town itself, but let's dig into the history a little bit.
Let's.
Okay. One of the original founders was an amazing woman named Mary Ann Holbrook.
Okay, you're setting the bar high, so
Mhm.
she better be amazing.
Trust me, she is. Mary was born in 1854 on a farm in Rockland, Massachusetts. Her family had farmed that land for generations.
Oh, okay.
So
Good, hardworking farm folk.
Mhm.
All right.
But she was called to the ministry, and she attended the Mount Holyoke Female Seminary, not far away from her home in Massachusetts.
Mount Holyoke Female Seminary.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. It's a lady college.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
100%. Mary studied the ministry and showed a strong draw to science. And in 1878, she transferred from Mount Holyoke Seminary to the University of Michigan to prepare herself for missionary service by studying medicine.
She's studying medicine in 1878.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? Yeah. So, I mean, I could...
amazing on her.
Right. I could stop there and just, like, she's just amazing for wanting to be a doctor at that time in history.
It's crazy. Yeah.
For wanting to be... That's kind of like when your kid is little and you're like, you can be anything. You could be an astronaut. You could be president. You could be... And we want...
I never told my kids that.
You didn't?
Yeah. There's some things they can't be.
I told my kids they could be anything. Anything. I might have...
None of my kids could be basketball players.
They could.
Just because of height.
Maybe not professional basketball
I
players.
mean, if you're talking about playing in the front yard, then yeah, we're all NBA
Okay,
stars.
so see, you just refine your definition.
Okay, all right.
After graduation in 1880 with her doctorate degree, she interned in Boston for 6 months and then went to Tungchow, North China.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. So 1880,
Mhm.
she got her doctor's degree. I don't think it was a doctorate back then. I think it was just a degree in medicine.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually didn't take very long to get the doctor, I don't even know what to call it, but it was only like 2 years, I think, or less than 2 years to get that
I
degree.
think it was 4 total, but it's not the 8 that it is now.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
I mean, but they were still throwing leeches on stuff and doing trepanning back then. So.
oh, yeah. Yeah. It was rough. So it was 1878 was when she transferred from Mount Holyoke Seminary to the other school. And,
University of Michigan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then 1880 when she graduated. So,
That's amazing.
yeah. So,
From a farming family.
right. Exactly.
So let's put that in, she's not coming from a privileged family.
Right.
You know, she's not coming from like the
She's not a Rockefeller.
a Rockefeller or the Vanderbilts,
Right.
Who sent their kids to wherever they wanted to go in the world.
Yeah.
No, she's a
No
farming
judgment. No
folk.
judgment. If you can, then,
Yeah. I'm
more
just
power to you.
saying her path was harder than many others.
I picture her having parents that told her she could be anything.
That's wonderful if that's the case. Yeah.
But at the very least,
They certainly didn't dissuade her from it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, the flip side of that is maybe they did, and she was like, "I'll show you that I can do it." I mean, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, just going through this is impressive.
Mm-hmm. So to put in perspective this accomplishment, there were only about 2,400 women doctors in the United States at the time, and women made up only 4% of all doctors in the U.S.
So that's amazing, right?
Yeah, this
Only
was
4% of that's a tiny number of all doctors were women.
yeah. This was a time in history. Well, we still have sort of, to a degree, not to this degree, I'm sure, but we still have the whole, like, when the female walks into the room and you're there to see the doctor, in the back of your mind, you might think, oh, this is the nurse kind of thing.
I'm sure that's the case. I actually prefer women doctors.
Yeah. I do too.
For everything. I prefer women. I find them to be just better than male doctors as a whole. And maybe that's reverse misogyny. I don't know. But
I don't think so, because I think that, for me anyway, my experience has been that women doctors are more apt to sit down and listen to you. They're more apt to care about your problem.
I find that to be true. And
as opposed
I'm
to
49, so I've been through a number of doctors.
This is nothing against men. Some men and some women. I don't want to.
There's always exceptions to the rule, right? But I agree. I find women doctors, women healthcare professionals in general, to be far more caring.
But maybe some men are better with the analyzing a specimen or something, like figuring out, like being in a lab, not dealing with people, focusing on a problem, and
maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of how I am at work. Leave me alone and I'll get a ton of stuff done.
Right.
Don't ask me to care about things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas I care about everything.
Yeah, I know.
Too much sometimes.
A lot.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So another thing that'll put this in perspective is that only 31 years earlier, Elizabeth Blackwell became the first woman in the U.S. to earn her doctor's degree.
31 years before that.
Yes.
So 2,400 women became doctors in 31 years.
That means that they were chomping at the bit. They were waiting. They were waiting for somebody to open the gate. And then, and this is across the United States.
But that's still only less than 80 a year.
But still,
which is incredible, but still hard.
And but think about this. That's 80 a year that had the lady balls to try, to go for it,
exactly,
to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was that a crass kind of thing to say?
I think it's fine. I think lady balls is fine.
They had the guts, the gumption, the courage. So yeah, women doctors were clearly a very new thing that many people still didn't think was right. Even though women were taking these prominent positions in the late 1800s, they still wouldn't get their right to vote until 1920.
I mean, just think about that.
Yeah.
40 years after this woman, this Mary Holbrook, got her doctor's degree, was practicing medicine.
Mm-hmm.
She had to wait 40 more years before she could stamp a voting card to vote for some awful president, right?
Or somebody in legislature who could possibly make things easier for women. Yeah. Women couldn't vote on whether or not this person. I'm sure they had opinions about who should be in office.
Of course they did. Of course a woman did. Yeah. But that's insane to me. She can be trusted.
Right.
With somebody's total health care and life.
Right.
But not enough to put a name on a piece of paper.
Right. To be counted
madness. It's madness that it took that long.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Yeah. So here's just a little bit about Elizabeth Blackwell. She's the first woman
doctor in the U.S.
Yep. First female doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. First female doctor.
And the challenges that she and other women faced at the time. The only medical school to admit Blackwell did so as a joke.
Get out of here.
I kid you not.
That's crazy. Oh, God.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Sometimes I'm ashamed of my gender.
When she applied to medical schools in 1847, Blackwell received rejections across the board. Luckily, there was one accidental exception. When she applied to Geneva Medical College, now Hobart and William Smith Colleges, a small rural school in western New York, the faculty decided to let their students make the call.
As a totally sane college would, I guess.
I mean,
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So
good for her because it worked out, but
yeah, but her application came across the faculty's desk and they were like, oh, this is so laughable. What we're going to do is we're going to make the students the bad guys to say no because, she seems like a nice lady and we don't want to say no to her. Let's let the students say no to her.
Man,
ha, ha, ha.
Man. And so, again, it's no wonder that it took, this was 1847, right? So it's no wonder that it took 73 years to get the right to vote.
Now, I'll be honest. When I first read this story, I was thinking, oh, good. These other male students were in support of a woman becoming a classmate.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Does that bear out? Does that?
Hold on.
No.
So the faculty assumed that the measure could not possibly pass. Administrators informed the 150 students, male students,
Yeah, of course.
that a single no vote would end her bid.
So they were really trying to stack the deck against her. One no.
Out of 150
one
students.
Chad out of 150 Chads to say no. Yeah.
Fortunately for her, these Chads were so Chad that they thought that this was a joke.
Okay.
So
it is becoming increasingly difficult to not curse on this podcast.
Some students thought that her application was a prank from a rival school. Others simply found the proposition amusing. So she got a unanimous yes vote across because all these students were like, oh, haha, we're going to throw this back to the faculty as a yes. Like, this is so hilarious that we're going to say yes. And it was a real person, a real female wanting to be a real doctor. And it wasn't a prank and it wasn't.
I wonder if Elizabeth knew at the time they were kicking it to the students.
I wonder.
Because she had to be like, well, time to apply at the next school.
Can you imagine, though, being Elizabeth and walking in and sitting down the first day of classes, being there?
I'm sure all 150 of these people were going, I made a huge mistake. I
don't know. I hope that they didn't. I hope that they were
that they didn't too.
I mean, I'm sure it shocked their system.
Yeah, I would think so. So
see
out of
someone
150,
in a skirt.
you would hope that a percentage, however big or small that may be, were in favor of her actually attending. I would hope.
If not out of the gate, at least I'm hoping that she won them over just by being studious and being herself.
Just by being good.
Yeah.
Just by being a good
Oh
student.
my goodness. Yeah. Can you imagine the first time one of those guys found out that he got a lower score on a test than she did or something?
I hope they all got lower scores.
I
hope every single one of them got lower scores than her.
Oh my goodness. That would, I mean.
And the faculty got to feel like schmucks, right?
I mean.
Yeah.
They did. They had to. If they've been like, what do we do now? I guess we have to let her.
We have to teach her. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how she's going to learn. She's got lady brain.
Yeah. So what they thought was a joke was actually a historic event. Blackwell became the first woman in the U.S. to earn her doctor's degree.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Good for her.
Yeah. So back to Mary Holbrook.
Okay.
Mary became sick in China and returned to the States in 1887 to Mount Holyoke.
So back to the college where she got her initial training. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After a period of recuperation, she was hired to teach for 2 years, from 1887 to 1889 at Mount Holyoke, where she recruited a group of students to assist in a plan to establish a Mount Holyoke College in Japan.
Wow. So she's thinking, hey, ladies, let's recreate this wonderful institution we have in Japan.
Yeah.
For other Japanese ladies.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
That's impressive.
Yeah. She petitioned the American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions, which was a Protestant agency founded in 1810 and chartered by the state of Massachusetts in 1812. She asked them to create the college in Japan, but they denied the request.
Shocker. Shocker.
What do you mean, a college for women?
Shouldn't you be cooking or something?
Yeah, make me a sandwich.
Yeah, I have clothes that need yarning.
But this same group of students, along with Dr. Holbrook, applied to the board and were approved for missionary service in Japan.
So they at least said, no, you can't do any learning stuff, but you can go over there and preach the gospel.
They were able to learn in this country. You know, they had their women's college over here, but taking it to Japan was just a bit much, I guess. I mean, Japanese women learning.
I mean, women learning is bad enough, but Japanese women, do they even have functioning brains? I don't know.
Can they read?
Who knows?
Get ideas?
They have those. They have pictures and stuff. That's what they do.
So Mary Holbrook and a student, Cora Stone, were the first of the group to set sail for Japan in 1889.
Which was not an easy trip back then, by the way.
No.
This was not an easy trip. So they were on the East Coast, so they either had to take a train over to San Francisco and ship out there, or they took a boat from...
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
From Massachusetts down the Cape...
Oh, my goodness.
Cape of Good Hope or Cape Horn.
There's probably a whole story on that, just the trip, making the trip.
It would have had to take them 2 months to get there.
Good Lord.
2 or 3 months to get there.
And with health issues and stuff?
And everybody's got scurvy.
Oh, yeah.
Pirates.
I'm sure that...
Couldn't have been great.
the conditions on ships, things didn't smell great.
Bad smells. Bad smells. Yeah.
Huh. Wow. So they went to Japan in 1889, bound for Kobe College in Nishinomiya.
Sounds right to me.
Hyojo. Yeah. So
Okay.
Japan. They were in Japan. Yeah.
In Nishinomiya. Yep. Okay.
Dr. Holbrook returned to the U.S. in 1894, along with fellow missionary Cora Stone, who had been diagnosed with tuberculosis.
Oh, she had didn't they call that consumption back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you threw up blood and stuff. That's awful.
Doc Holliday had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's awful. Because to me, I would think with the state of medicine and all the problems that you'd have, I think that maybe alcohol would be a number one treatment for a lot of ailments.
I think alcohol and cocaine were the top two prescribed.
And those are probably really,
back.
really bad for tuberculosis.
I can't imagine they'd be good. They'd probably make you feel good for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good for a lot of other stuff, though.
Donna, is there something you need to tell our listeners?
No. Yeah, so sad about you. I think a lot of people had...
at least Cora had a doctor with her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So while they were there, the women actually created the first ever sciences department at Kobe College, specifically designed for women's studies.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I mean, these women just continued to impress. They're like, oh, okay, you won't let us create a Mount Holyoke College in Japan? We'll just make this one better. The one that's already there. Give them a science department.
Yep.
Because ladies can
apparently
clearly learn science.
Sure. Yeah, apparently. So, although Dr. Holbrook returned to Japan briefly, she returned back to the United States in the fall of 1896. She and Cora landed in Mount Retreat, North Carolina.
Mountain Retreat, North Carolina. Okay?
Yeah.
Montreat.
Yes, Montreat. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mountain Retreat.
That's what it was called back then. Mountain Retreat.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a Congregationalist minister from Connecticut named John Collins was trying to create a place for Presbyterians to live, have a missionary base of operations, and develop a Presbyterian community. Mary and Cora were among the first to buy land and build on the property.
It's impressive. And I can see why they chose that area. Oh,
yes.
It is gorgeous there.
Yeah.
Absolutely spectacular.
When I say that Mountain Retreat or Montreat, when I say that it's surrounded on three sides by mountains, these mountains are not far away. You are just cradled in the loving embrace of mountains. They are there.
Yeah.
They're just
you're
like
looking up.
Yes.
Both sides. Yeah. It's gorgeous.
It is beautiful.
It's like a beautiful area.
It's like you were just, I don't know, in this mountain heaven.
Yeah. I can see why they built it there. I totally see why they built it there.
Yeah. Dr. Mary Holbrook was reportedly intending to erect 2 or 3 cottages and make them headquarters for missionaries returning from the foreign fields. She purchased lots 59 and 60 on the upper road, although these were the only lots she purchased, and lot 59 was the only one on which she erected a cottage for herself. I think her intentions were fulfilled, since she was directly involved in the building of at least 4 cottages.
Wow.
Yeah. Her own cottage, now called Caledonia, as well as Gray Rock, Hickory Lodge, now called Silwood, and Chinquapin.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look up what that word means.
I think it's a native word.
Yeah, I think so. All 4 cottages were built in a similar rustic style and all built for single women, and 3 of the cottages were built for women with ties to Mount Holyoke College, which was not only Dr. Holbrook's alma mater, but also where she taught for several years.
So they built 4 cottages.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not like you can hire contractors, really, back then. Unless you had a lot of money, like the Vanderbilts. But she built these women built these cottages themselves.
Yes.
That's incredible. So you have this woman who became a doctor, who was a missionary.
In Japan.
Who taught.
Yes.
Set up an entire sciences department in a foreign country.
Recruited other women to help.
Came back to the States, and now she's building houses in a wilderness. And at the time, this was the deep wilderness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So Dr. Holbrook acted as the contractor for a few, if not all 4 of these cottages, and may have even swung a hammer. Cora Stone, who owned Gray Rock Cottage, once related that those early cottagers who were few in number, had to take up roles that were far from their chosen professions. Obviously referring to Dr. Holbrook, Cora related that the physician was head carpenter.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just
she's
amazing.
a female, she's a doctor, and she's hammer and nails.
She's a missionary.
Right.
She's a teacher.
Yes.
She is apparently a dean because she set up a science department, and now she's a carpenter.
Yep. Dr. Holbrook stayed in Montreat until 1902 when she returned to teach at Kobe College. In 1910, Holbrook returned to the U.S. due to ill health from diabetes, where she later died that year.
Oh.
Yeah. None of the structures still stand today, but Cora and Mary's influence is still definitely felt. Cora built the first general store and library in Montreat called Cabin in the Woods.
So Cora built a general store and a library.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
These women are incredible.
Yeah. So, yeah. Upon Stone's death in 1904, the community moved her public library, dedicated in 1904, to the community building, today's post office building on Assembly, Georgia.
Yeah, we passed by there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The library was used by Montreaters and eventually became the core library for the Montreat Normal School in 1916. Today, Montreat's college.
They called it Montreat Normal School?
Yeah. I don't.
Who thought that was a good idea?
Okay, so
it's different than the Black Mountain
well,
bad school.
I don't know. Normal school. Like, did that mean that there couldn't have been only men? There had to have been. Maybe they were trying. Maybe it was a school for males and females, and they were trying to normalize that.
I don't know, but I think you're right about that. I think you're onto something. There's no way that Dr. Holbrook and Cora would have allowed them to have male only school.
Right. Exactly.
They would have probably burned that place down.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if they would have done that, but somebody might have gotten threatened with bodily harm. I don't know.
I would think so. These women do not take no very well.
I mean, I imagine that they were well loved. I imagine that they had a level of charisma because in order to get as much you have to have a balance in your personality, right? You have to have that sciencey part of your brain, that determined part of your personality, and that also that, okay, I need to work with men in this day and time to get things done. Even if those men are jokingly saying, yes, that you can come to medical school.
Oh my God. I just keep coming back to that. God, can you... I just go back to thinking these 150 dudes were like,
what have we done?
What did we just do? Wait, it's not a joke?
It's not a prank from our neighbor's school?
What did we do?
The faculty should, they were like, it's on you, faculty. You put it in our hands. And
yeah. That's impressive. So we got most of this information from the Presbyterian Church of the USA and Montreat organization. I think it's Montreat.org or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's incredible reading. We highly recommend you look it up because the story is fascinating. We covered most of it, but
there's a lot
more.
And there's a lot of other individuals that you could research, founding members of.
Yeah, there's some men there. There's some more information about, the guy who started it.
This Dr. Mary Holbrook just jumped off the page at us.
Absolutely, she jumped off the page. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great fun fact, Donna. Thank you. So Dr. Mary Holbrook, if you're in the ether listening to us, good on you.
Yeah.
Good job. And you too, Elizabeth Blackwell.
You're right. And Cora Stone as well.
Stone. Good job, ladies. So today's review, Donna, is of a German restaurant in nearby Black Mountain. It's like 8 minutes away from the trailhead. And it's Berliner Kindl German Restaurant in Black Mountain.
Yes.
So the address, if you want to search it on your map app, is 121 Broadway, Black Mountain, North Carolina, 28711. And the website is BerlinerBlackMTN.com. So that's BerlinerBlackMTN.com. If you just search for Berliner Kindl Black Mountain, you'll find it. So they have amazing traditional German food here.
Yes.
We saw this, we passed this on the way in when we were driving to it, and we were like, oh no, we're going to stop here. You and I typically don't reach for German food. We have it, 3-4 times a year, maybe?
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
But when we do have it, we
really enjoy it. Yes.
So I got a Reuben.
Mm-hmm.
And now the one thing I should tell my listeners, I love a good traditional Reuben. This is a really traditional Reuben that does not have the Thousand Island dressing.
Right.
They will give you Thousand Island on the side if you want to put in, because they recognize that Reubens usually have it, or spicy brown mustard. And I got the spicy brown mustard on the side. The sauerkraut is made in-house. The corned beef was incredible.
German
it was
potatoes.
Really good. The German potato salad was amazing.
Yeah. It was all very
so
good.
it was very good. It was very good. And what did you get?
I was getting schnitzel. Did I get the Jaeger schnitzel?
You didn't get the Jaeger schnitzel.
You got
the Rhine schnitzel,
that's
which
right.
is a creamy schnitzel sauce instead of the traditional brown mushroom gravy.
Right. Yes. So, and it was very good. I think I like to try things different. I like to try new tastes and everything. Next time I will get the Jaeger schnitzel with the brown mushroom gravy sauce, because I just love that so much.
The schnitzel, so I had a bite of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that pork was so tender.
It was so good.
It was very, very good. All the food is made in-house, and you had the red cabbage.
Yes, I love red cabbage with schnitzel, and a little bit of the German potato salad.
You had the hot German potatoes, and I had the cold German potato salad.
Hot in the sense that temperature hot, and yours were refrigerated.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, it was all very, very good. And I love the people. You can tell, you know what? I like going to places that seem to really care about patronage and care about their customers and care about, anytime I go into a business and there's a very, from the employees, there's a very, I could care less about my job. This is just a paycheck.
Yeah.
I don't like going to those places. These people seem to really care about customer service.
It's clearly an independent restaurant. It wasn't very big. There was 6 tables, maybe? Something, maybe 10 that we didn't see around the corner. One of the things that I really liked about it, their wines.
Mm-hmm.
So they have traditional German wines like Liebfraumilch and Gewürztraminer. I love German wines.
And you can buy a bottle on your way out, which is what we did.
Which is what we did. We bought a bottle of Liebfraumilch, which is a traditional German wine. They consider it like a regular old table wine, right? So everybody's got Liebfraumilch.
But it's so good.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Like almost like a Riesling.
Yeah, it's very much, and of course they have Rieslings there too. And it's a German brand imported from Germany. So it's not like you're getting, barefoot Riesling. It's a real German wine.
And then we also bought a dessert to go.
We did.
That was so good.
What dessert did you get?
You know what? I remember tasting it and how good it was. I don't remember what I got. What did I get?
Was it the pecan?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
It was like a German pecan pie type thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like a bourbon pecan
That's right. Yeah.
pie.
Yeah.
It was it didn't last very long in the vehicle.
It didn't make the way home.
When I was buying it and she said, "Do you need utensils?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Yes.
Yes.
If not, I'm just going to eat it with my hands.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and so this place is like I said, 8-10 minutes away from the trailhead. It's right off the highway when you get there, and you're going to go through the very cute Black Mountain downtown, which is adorable.
Right. I want to go back to Black Mountain downtown just to walk around the little shops. There's a couple of streets in their downtown area.
I agree.
That just sweet.
It was vibrant. On a Wednesday, it was so vibrant.
Yeah.
There were people walking around.
This was Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very exciting. So, and the price wasn't bad at all. For, you can get some German restaurants, some higher end German restaurants that are pretty pricey. This was fine. I mean, I think
and
both of our
your
meals,
Scottish
we came out of there
blood
for $30.
For you to say it was fine.
I usually now, so listeners, I'm not a cheap person.
You're not.
But I do balk at some of the prices that restaurants are charging now. Like Donna and I don't eat McDonald's, but every once in a while when we're leaving for a hike, we'll stop at like a Hardee's or something to get a breakfast sandwich on our drive to wherever we're going. And I'm like, $6 for a breakfast sandwich. Get out of here. This is ridiculous. Inflation's just gone nuts. But the prices weren't bad here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't bad. The bottle of wine, I think, costs us $17, which is about what you get at a grocery store.
Yeah.
For a bottle of wine. So, yeah, it was good. I highly recommend this place. The staff is super friendly.
Mm-hmm.
They were very attentive. Our food came very quickly. Faster than I thought it was going to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd recommend it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll go there again because there were a bunch of other restaurants there in downtown that we'd like to try. But
I would totally go there again.
I would go there again. it won't be our next trip when we go to Black Mountain because there were some other things. I was like, oh, that place looked good. There were some little places right on downtown Main Street that I was like, oh, that place looks cute. We should go there. But I definitely recommend it to anybody who's looking for good German food.
Yeah.
100%. So that's our show this week, guys.
Mm-hmm.
The Graybeard, Harry Bryan Sanctuary Loop Trail in Montreat, North Carolina. If you don't do the Woodward Falls Spur, it's a piece of cake. If you do, it's definitely a break of sweat. Donna and I both agree there's betters. There's better trails out there.
Yeah.
So if you're in the area and have nothing better to do, have at it.
If you can find a parking spot.
If you can find a
You
parking
said
spot.
there's 8 spaces. I think there's only 7. But people park in places that they're not supposed to.
There's 7 marked and then one that's
separate from the 7? Okay. All right. I only saw those 7.
But even so, 8's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
There was only one space open when we got there on a Wednesday.
Yeah, we got parking space number 5, which 5 is my favorite number. So
nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. And then we had a great fun fact about Dr. Mary Holbrook and Cora Stone, one of the originally founding settlers of Montreat or Mountain Retreat, North Carolina. And we reviewed Berliner Kindl German Restaurant in nearby Black Mountain. Great German food. Amazing wine.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend anybody going there if you're looking for good German food.
Yeah. So thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe to us in whatever podcast app you use and be sure to leave us a review because that's how our show grows. Feel free to check out our trail photos at casualclimbers.podbean.com. And if you have a question, comment, or just want to drop us a line, you can reach us at casualclimberspodcast@gmail.com.
So Donna.
Yeah.
We mentioned briefly that Black Mountain is famous for UFO sightings going in and out of the mountain.
Right.
So next time we go to Montreat to check out the small town, not do the hike, or go to Black Mountain because that little town is adorable.
It really is.
I'm gonna bring my UFO hunting equipment.
They probably have some kind of like alien or UFO or like.
Oh, do you think?
Like they probably have like
a little shop or something like that.
Well, shops, but also like didn't we go to a Bigfoot festival, like a festival?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you think they have a UFO?
Maybe they have a alien/Bigfoot festival. We'll have to look into it and see.
Now you're just toying with me. If those two things exist, I want to go.
Yeah.
Today.
Well, it might not be today.
Oh, God. So we have to wait. But yeah, next time, I'm going to look for aliens.
Yeah, and maybe we'll see them out on the trail.
Oh, God, how great would that be? You know what my dream hike would be? A waterfall hike and Bigfoot and a little gray alien holding hands walking down the path.
I'm picturing them holding hands. They're friends.
Absolutely, they're holding hands. Yeah. So Bigfoot and alien, I'm going to call you Thor because you're Asgardian.
Yeah.
We'll see you out on the trail.